Howdy guys, and welcome to another episode from the Foundry where I give monkey brain advice to DMs and players alike, along with tips and how-to guides using my campaign as an example. Today, I'll be wrapping up our intense lesson on what Sneak Attack is, how it works, the different mechanics of D&D that affect it, like feats, spells, multiclassing, and finally how each rogue subclass enhances Sneak Attack or interacts with it themselves. And to avoid any issues with finding your specific subclass, I've decided to do a longer video instead. Feel free to check out the chapters in the description below to find your specific subclass and to understand how Sneak Attack works for them. To start us off, we'll begin with Arcane Trickster. Arcane Tricksters arguably have the most versatile and reliable methods available to them to improve their ability to sneak attack each round compared to the other subclasses. As mentioned in the spells for Sneak Attack video, there are many spells Arcane Trickster rogues can learn naturally or with the feat that enables them to set up the conditions needed for Sneak Attack quite easily. But at level 13, they gain the Versatile Trickster ability, which allows them to use their mage hand each turn as a bonus action to distract the target and gain advantage to attack them. Moving on to the next subclass available to rogues, we have Assassin Rogues. At level 3, they gain the Assassinate ability. This gives the rogue advantage on attack rolls against any creature that hasn't had a turn yet in that combat encounter. Additionally, if the rogue manages to surprise the target, any attack they land becomes an automatic crit. This allows the rogue to quite frankly, essentially assassinate any target outright. Doubling sneak attack damage can get nasty real fast. This is further demonstrated at level 17 when Assassin Rogues gain Death Strike. If the surprise target fails their Constitution saving throw, then they take double the damage dealt. This stacks with Assassinate. Here is how the math breaks down using a rapier for example. We have 1d8 for the rapier plus 9d6 for sneak attack plus our dexterity modifier. This is doubled as per the Assassinate ability, making it a crit for attacking a surprise target, giving us 2d8 plus 18d6 plus our dexterity modifier. If they also fail the Death Strike saving throw, then whatever the final damage calculated for Assassinate is now double. No additional rolling, just a straight up double damage modifier. This would also apply to the bonus damage from things like Sharpshooter if a ranged weapon was used, i.e. 20 extra damage instead of just 10. Now that is an explosive first round. Since this is a long-term investment trait for Assassin Rogues, I would recommend getting poisons that either stun or paralyze to help you reach these later levels for Death Strike. But remember, the key factor in both of these abilities is the target must be surprised. So your mileage with these abilities will vary depending on your party and table. Now, looking at Inquisitive Rogues, we have another strong interaction with Sneak Attack. Insightful Fighting allows you to make an insight check against a foe, and if you succeed, then for the next minute, you automatically qualify for Sneak Attack against that target, assuming you don't have disadvantage to attack. 10 rounds of guaranteed sneak attacks for one bonus action is pretty impactful at low levels, or for parties that split up a bit more often. This debuff of sorts can be reapplied as many times as you'd like, but can only be on one target at a time. This gives you a great and reliable source of damage for focusing down targets. This is further enhanced at level 17 when you get Eye for Weakness, allowing you to add an additional 3d6 sneak attack damage to your target of your watchful gaze. Moving on to the Mastermind Rogue, we don't get any direct interactions or benefits for our ability to sneak attack. Instead, we get an indirect interaction with Insightful Manipulator. This ability allows us to observe or interact with a potential target outside of combat for 1 minute to determine 2 weaknesses. In this case, we will focus on its Wisdom score. This will tell us which goon to target first, because if it has a low Wisdom score, it also usually means they probably don't have a good perception check, making them easier to sneak up on. Phantom Rogues. These rogues took Sneak Attack and enhanced it in some real interesting ways. With Wails from the Grave, we can now do half of our sneak attack damage to another target a fair amount of times per long rest, coupled with Tokens of the Departed at level 9, so as long as you collect these soul trinkets, you can keep using your Wails of the Dead, even past the original limit. And if that wasn't enough, Ghostwalk allows you to really exploit the environment. We can reposition in some crazy ways now that we can fly and phase through objects, easily breaking line of sight and sneaking through walls to get the drop on our enemies. So you should always keep them guessing where you'll come from next with this. Then we have the cherry on top. At level 17, Death's Friend. We now always have at least one soul trick in each day, and when we do Wails from the Grave, we can now apply the damage to both our initial target and his friend next to him. It is almost like landing a critical hit on our main target, essentially whenever we want, so long as we have soul trinkets. The fun doesn't stop there. We also have scouts. While initially they don't get any bonuses to sneak attack, at level 13, Ambush Master lets you and your party have advantage on the first target you hit. This lets you open up the encounter strong with essentially a guaranteed sneak attack. Then at level 17, we turn up our lethality. With Sudden Strike, you can now sneak attack twice in one turn, once as your action and once as a bonus action. Although the second sneak attack has to be against a different target. But with all the mobility we get as scouts, this shouldn't be an issue. This now means that you can sneak attack up to 3 times per round, twice on your turn and once as a reaction on someone else's turn. This can be done through either feats, attacks of opportunity, or abilities from other classes like Battle Masters who can have us attack with our reaction. Soulknife Rogues. Compared to the other 2 subclasses, the way Soulknife Rogues interact with sneak attack is pretty straightforward and is a little less flashy. At level 9, they can use their psionic die to potentially turn misses into hits, thus improving your ability to actually sneak attack each round. They can also use their psionic blades to teleport. If used properly, this can help the rogue position themselves in an advantageous way to get the drop on their targets, along with Psychic Veil at level 13 to become invisible. Their level 17 ability to Rend Mind can also be useful for setting up future rounds of sneak attack, as it forces your target to make a wisdom save or be stunned for 1 minute. Swashbucklers. These charismatic rogues are interesting in the fact that they add an additional condition they can meet to get sneak attack instead. Rakish Audacity. This ability at level 3 makes it so Swashbucklers are the perfect skirmishers, so long as they are the only creature attacking or dueling their target. More specifically, if your target is 5 feet from you and there are no other creatures within 5 feet of you and you don't have disadvantage, you get sneak attack. The main 2 prerequisites for sneak attack still apply though, but couple this with your fancy footwork and you can dance around the battlefield 1v1ing enemies and getting sneak attacks left and right. At level 17, Master Duelist is helpful in that it can help turn a miss into a hit, letting you re-roll your attack with advantage, but this ability in itself does not trigger sneak attack. Now, last but certainly not least, we have the classic Thief Rogue. The Thief Rogue has the highest overall sneak attack opportunities. His abilities are simple and straightforward because if they did anything more, they'd be way too powerful. Fast Hands is limited only by your imagination. You can set up a bear trap as a bonus action and shove your target into it in the same turn, setting up your target for a world of pain. Supreme Sneak at level 9 gives you advantage on all stealth checks, meaning coupled with reliable talent, you should always be hidden and getting the drop on your foes. And now we have the magnum opus, peak rogue and sneak attack goodness. Thief's Reflexes. You get 2 turns during the first round of combat, 2 full turns, actions, bonus actions, and reactions, both of which can get sneak attack. In an ideal situation, you get sneak attack as your first action, you would use your reaction for a second sneak attack, and then on your second turn, you would get sneak attack again with your action, and a 4th sneak attack as a reaction. 4 opportunities to really ruin your target's day in 1 round. In a perfect world, that would be 4 critical hits of sneak attack on round 1, meaning at level 17, with a non-magical rapier, if all 4 attacks you make are not only crits, but have sneak attack damage where you roll maximum damage possible, that would be 516 damage in 1 turn. At level 20, with the same parameters, that would be 564 points of damage. Now, I hope by breaking down how sneak attack works into bite-sized chunks, it is easier to digest and understand. But there you have it. A fully exhaustive guide on sneak attack, on how it works fundamentally, and for how it's altered or enhanced by many different mechanics in D&D, along with how each subclass of rogue deals with it. I know this lesson has been a long one, but I hope you fellow rogues and DMs have found it helpful. Thank you for attending my class on Sneak Attack 101. I hope you had fun, and maybe this guide even encouraged some of you to consider playing a rogue in your next campaign. If you did, please give this video a like and comment down below what was the most helpful or shocking portion of the series to you. And get subscribed, as I'll continue to break down other class mechanics that might be confusing for some players and DMs. But yeah, see you guys next time.